Greetings. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Global Leadership Perspectives. And I want to begin by asking all of you who have been watching this program, especially if you've not subscribed to this program, I request you to please subscribe so that this program may be able to reach as many people as possible. And by so doing that, information will be disseminated to many people. When you look at the Kenyan constitution, we have the president and then we have the deputy president. These two offices constitute the presidency office. And so, as much as they are one office, but of course the constitution gives them specific roles. But ideally, the vice president is technically the assistant to the president. And today, I would like to look at the presidency leadership on trial. The subject itself is suggestive, and just looking at the presidency on trial, in terms of giving it a little bit of background, want us to look what is currently happening. The opposition, led by Mr. Odinga, they have been conducting a series of meetings and including demonstrations and picketing, and they have been agitating for a few things. Top amongst them, they would want to see the situation of Kenyans in terms of the ability to afford basic means proper addressed in terms of lowering the price of commodities, and also the addressing the issue of the IEBC wanting the servers to be opened so as an audit can be conducted. And then also, of course, there are many other things they are looking at, but basically those forms the top issues. And having said that, of course, on 20th of March, they had a demonstration that was faced with a lot of opposition from the police, and of course with a lot of force from the police, and there was a lot of trouble, a lot of tear gassing, a lot of drama that really did not augur well with opposition. And of course, many look at it as the police really used extra force, and so that is one of the background. And the second item I'd like to bring in order for us to understand this subject well is that the government itself, led by the President Ruto and his deputy, Mr. Gachagua, and many others so in the government, or if I would say the ruling party, UDA, they have really opposed this kind of move from the opposition, and they have actually promised to deal with them ruthlessly. There's a time I did a video a few weeks back, and I titled it negotiations versus confrontations. Negotiations versus confrontations. And I was trying to preempt what would come, and at the end of the day, I concluded by saying negotiation will be a good thing to go with, and confrontation will create more trouble for the country and also for the people of the country. And so it appears the government has chosen the way of confrontation, and we I've seen that in the way they've been conducting themselves, and the way they have been approaching the whole issue, and the way they have been handling the opposition leaders, especially on the 20th when they were on the street demonstrating. Now, the opposition brigade announced that they will have demonstrations every Monday and Thursdays, and this also rattled the government, and so even the police have come up again to declare those demonstrations illegal and not warranted. And now, and in the wake of all these events, the president is out of the country. He is not in the country. So the implications means that Mr. Gachagua is left in charge of the country. Now, how does the issue of the test on the presidency in terms of leadership comes in? One, let us look at the Constitution. What does the Constitution say concerning this issue? Does the Constitution give people the right to picket? Does the Constitution give people the right to demonstrate? And the answer is yes. The 2010 Constitution, which we call a progressive constitution, it gives people the right to picket, do demo, and deliver their petitions and their grievances and the issues they feel that need to be addressed. And so as much as it is done in the confinement of peace and the law, and what is only required according to the Constitution actually is only to inform the police, and so that the police will be there to provide security and to ensure that it does not again interfere with the daily running of other things. Now, if that is the case, and yet the leadership of the ruling party, the government, is opposing, and it is really combating these people and facing them with a lot of force, where does that leave them in terms of their leadership? Because on such an issue, definitely anybody who would intervene, there is the blessing of the president. And in this case, and even the deputy president, and in this case, in fact, that even the president is not there, then the president is left. So the Constitution is there. And would you deny Kenyans who feel they want to demonstrate and picketing, would you want to deny them what the Constitution refers to as their rights, because you want to serve your selfish interest or your political agenda? So that in itself really is something that I feel the leadership is on trial, and they really need to think whether they're going to obey the Constitution, or whether they are going to play by the play of politics. Number two, the police. Why I feel also the presidency's leadership is on trial. The police, as according to the 2010 Constitution, the police is independent, and that is a good thing. But is the police really independent? These are people who are still under the instructions of the presidency. And this would happen not just because this government is in it. I'm sure even if the opposition would have won, they have influence over the police. And so that is not something to rule out. But as much as they would want they will have that political influence over them, how do they really influence them? So in this case, we have seen already, like on 20, the police was used to unleash terror on the people who are demonstrating. And the government, including the police itself, they have promised to increase that kind of terror on the people who are going to demonstrate, and basically the opposition. And so the government need to think seriously, or the presidency, the leadership of presidency needs to think seriously about this. In the world, the police is there to really serve the interest of the citizens. And that's why the police is supposed to be impartial. Yeah. So let's see how the police is going to respond on this issue, and especially to tomorrow and the subsequent demonstration in case they will persist. But how they are going to handle it, how the government is going, or the security apparatus are going to ask the police to respond to issues, it's going to really matter. Now, the other thing, I've talked about the constitution, the police, and now the presidency itself. Yeah, in terms of the president himself and the deputy president himself. Yeah, who forms the executive arm of the government. Yeah, definitely there are orders they give. And if this is the case, are these orders that are meant to facilitate the safety even of the people demonstrating and the people who are not demonstrating? So these are things that really the presidency needs to think about seriously and find out and ask themselves if they want to really create an environment that is conducive for all Kenyans or not. And this issue, it's a serious issue. It's an issue that, of course, has already attracted the attention of the international, even friends, and it is becoming delicate day by day. The opposition came up with the revelation of what the deputy president and the cohort are planning to do. Whether it is true or not, the point is, basing on what we saw on 20th, there are things that really put the presidency leadership on test. On test in the sense that, are they going to do the right thing, or are they going to do what they feel this will help us to muzzle these people so that we can rule and have our way? That is putting the country on a very serious position. Now the president is out of the country, the vice president is left. I want us to look at his behavior in terms of how he's going to approach this issue tomorrow and going forward. Will he facilitate the opposition, or is he going to unleash terror on them? Because the way we have seen how he, the deputy president, approaches issues, and his style of leadership is very compactful. He's very confrontational. And how is he going to handle it tomorrow? I have a concern basing on analysis of what we have seen him do before. We should be left with concern on how he's going to handle it tomorrow. And the way he's going to handle it is going to help the situation, or is going to worsen the situation. So that's what I'm saying. The presidency, the leadership of presidency is on trial. And even the president has to know whether he is away, and the president makes some decisions that will not be good for the country. The deputy is part of the presidency, and so it will be taken as the president, who part of the presidency has made the decision. And of course, the other theory, somebody could come and say, before he left, he gave instructions and just left the president to handle the instructions. I know if you went in the direction of politics, there are those who would say the president leaving such a time as this, and then leaves the deputy at a very tricky position, then he can mess with things or execute some of the things the president would have felt uncomfortable doing that as the president. Then later on, the blame shifts to the deputy. But I don't want to go into those details because that's not my obligation. My obligation is basically on this channel to address issues of leadership, and that is where I would want to limit myself. And so I pray and hope that the behavior of presidency going forward shall be that kind of behavior that is going to help bring the country together and also look for a solution where this issue is concerned, because it is growing, it is becoming delicate day by day, and the approach, especially from the government and the people in the ruling party, is becoming worrying and of a concern. So what I'm saying basically, the leadership of presidency is on trial. May God help them, give them wisdom, courage to do the right thing.